Hello everybody and welcome to a new type of video. So I talk a lot about the armies that I have and that I collect and that I love and that I've painted, but I realized I didn't really have them out there anywhere where people could look at them, and for all you know, I could just be totally lying. So I thought it'd be fun to kind of put my models together, take new pictures of everything, get it all together, and do a video walking through all my armies and kind of, sort of record it for historical posterity, I guess, but also just have some fun and talk through what I painted when and things that I like about them, things I don't like about them, challenges, and I don't know. Hopefully you find it interesting. And that is what I'm really curious about. So, if you think this is fun or interesting, hey, neat, leave comments below and please tell me as much and that you'd like to see the rest. If you think this is a dumb idea and you do not care about this, then please tell me that as well. I welcome all feedback on this. Okay? Alright, that's enough preamble. Let's jump in. So the first one's going to be Slaanesh Daemons. This is one of the first armies that got me back into Warhammer after a lull. I've played since 97, 98, but there have been periods of inactivity there where I only got in a couple games a year. And 2.5 years ago, sometime in the middle of 8th edition, I don't know what model I saw. I had a few of these, as you'll see as we go through. I had a few Slaanesh Demons that I kind of started collecting years ago, but something just tripped in my brain, and I thought, I want to finish this army, and that's what set me off into the painting frenzy that has led to the current day. So let's take a look. Okay, so we begin with these god-awful daemonettes. So these were painted, I'm going to say 13 years ago. That sounds believable. And these were painted, I think, right before I got all my Tomb King stuff. So that would have been 2004, like my first Tomb King stuff. I knew what I wanted, the dark armor, the white. This is in the time period. There were much less, even back then, there were much less in the way of sort of different kinds of paints available, and I certainly had less at my disposal. I believe that I was all clever with myself by dry brushing their claws with metal, like those you can see here, like in this part of the claw where it's dry brushed with metal. Oh, wasn't I clever. So this is an example of just dry brushing, base coating, washing, dry brushing, like simple techniques. And you can see like over on this girl where I let like the black wash, because again, this was a time when like, hey, everything gets black washed, even white. Don't do that. So these were my first 10 daemonettes. What I loved when I was putting this together, I realized I have a unit of 40 some daemonettes, and they're in groups of 10 that are literally completely different. Like no 10 are the same as the other 10, as we'll see. But these were the daemonettes that started it all way, way, way back in the day, that made me start to think I could get into this. Alright, so here we have the first group of daemonettes I painted for the new Slaanesh force when I got back into it. Better. Still not fantastic. Their skin could have a little more tonal variation, but I'm pretty happy with how they came out overall. Went to the new sort of purple to magenta to pink color scheme that you'll see through a lot of the army. But, I didn't take a lot of care with these. Like, this poor girl, her face over here. Oh, that didn't work out well for her. I mean, it's fine. She's a demon. Who cares? But, yeah, I think that's probably a glue-related incident where, like, I had some super glue on my finger and touched her. This is also when I realized I should start actually doing bases besides just throwing some snow at the base. So we've got some rocks, and we got some plants, and we got some snow. I wouldn't call it up to snuff, but it's not terrible. At least there's something going on at the base. Next 10. So then the next 10 I did, I wanted to take it up farther, so I got some Witch Elf components, because I just love the Witch Elf faces. And I kit bashed together the Witch Elves with the Daemonettes. So you can see that there's, like, mostly Witch Elf bodies, but then they've got the Daemonette claws. There's a few other pieces of Daemonettes worked in here or there, but I love the dynamism and the posing and stuff like that. So these were a lot of fun. The models are ridiculous. Some of them are leaning just in a completely silly way, but there's some of these that I do truly love. The two with the big long claws, one putting them both front, like diving forward, and one with them up in the air, saying sort of, "Come at me, bro or bra or girl or whoever or both that I like. Um, so these were a lot of fun, and I really enjoy these, and I like their boots too. Something that the normal daemonettes don't have. So you get the big, sort of colored boots, which I think really spice up the whole model and help with the color balance between their ridiculous hair. So those are the next 10. And then finally we have the last 10 I did, which I didn't quite go as far on the pink. I wanted them to stand out a little. These are actually the final 10 that I did, the last group. But that being said, I didn't make their color scheme match completely. Tom, I'm sure, would lose his mind. He's very big on that. But these are the Juan Diaz sculpts of daemonettes. I had never had any of these. I had always wanted some. I actually have 10. The 9th, the 10th one just didn't make it in this picture, apparently. And these were sent to me by a subscriber for whom I am eternally grateful for sending these beautiful, beautiful models to me. And I really tried to work hard on these to make sure that they were up to the level that these wonderful sculpts deserve. They're a little smaller than the other ones, but it's not really noticeable when they're just kind of mixed into the unit. That being said, let me tell you what, I would punch my grandmother in the face for a recast of these in plastic in these models. I love how some of them do still have normal hands. I love the way their horns are sometimes different and not even and go in different directions. I love their posing and the way their legs are standing. Everything about them. I don't think we'd ever get a recast because there's still much nudity in these, and I don't think that would fly these days. But that being said, they're a lot of fun. One other interesting thing about this is that you'll notice my bases, like the edge color on the bases. Now that you might not have noticed, but now you'll see it forever. I wasn't really going back when I first started and really darkening the edge of the bases and cleaning them up, something I've since grown to think is extremely important. But no, I wasn't doing it then, and so their bases all still have like some dry brushing and some snow that got caught over on them, and the models just aren't properly framed without taking the time and going around and darkening that bottom baseline there. But hey, things for the future. As I said in last week's topic of the week, I don't repaint models. This is my unit filler for my daemonettes for when I need to do really big groups, because I think I have like 43 or 44 total. So when I want to go for the full 50 block, this is a big chariot base that's done up with some parts from the Cauldron of Blood and Medusa thing and a Slaanesh banner. It was just a lot of fun. I don't know, just something I put together one day because I was kind of bored. And yeah, it works as a nice, fun unit filler, and I like it a lot. I truly love that Cauldron of Blood sort of statue guy and the blades and stuff on it. So I think those are. I have ended up working in those blades to about 30 models just because I think they're pretty awesome. A little bit of flash I missed there. Always hate to see that. You see that years later, and it bothers you because you somehow painted the whole model and never noticed it. Okay, so the Fiends. Oh, what to say about these guys? They were another fairly early paint in this process. I tried to paint them in differing colors. You can see like pink and magenta and whites, and they're not uniform. To me, they were weird demons. These things are just strange. The models are frankly terrible. They're metal, and you have to like pin every piece of them in. Otherwise, they will break. You will break arms. You will break heads. If every single component of this is not pinned, it will snap just like that. Their faces are weird. They have weird texturing on them that makes them sort of difficult to have a good color scheme. I am not a fan of these models, but at the same time, I also love them because they almost fall into that they're so stupid, they're adorable thing, because they're just dumb. They make no sense with their weird backwards legs and everything else, but we went the distance on them. Like I puttied over all the joints and everything and all that, and they came out okay. There are things I probably should have done differently, like this guy's little stinger tail should be white, not pink. Looking at them, the eye should have more tonal variation beyond just a weird white dot. Little things like that. That being said, they're fun. So here was the second group I did, which I'm a little more happy with. I changed around some of the posing. I did the head swap with the bull, like a big minotaur head on here, which I thought made it much more aesthetically appealing to me, at least. Here we got the stinger right, although they're not correct again. So I like these guys better. They're certainly closer in color scheme for the most part to my daemonettes, although I do still have this weird one over here that's more of this strange pink color, although I am a fan of whatever I don't know how I got this tone, but I do enjoy it. I like these guys. They're goofy. They've always been fun to have on the board in more or less every edition that I've played these things in. So, yeah, I'm happy to have 6 of them. I'm not getting any more anytime soon. Okay, so my Furies, who are once again missing one. I do have 10 Furies. I don't know how. One of them I realized had snuck away and was not in this group. So these are made obviously from daemonettes and then wings from the leather wings from Scourges from 40k, very popular conversion. I'm certainly not the one who thought of this. I do love this conversion. I tried very hard to pose them in all sorts of different and interesting positions, to have them flying around and flashing their wings and just doing interesting things, coming in for landings and such. Looking at it now, it makes me angry I didn't take the time to put anything on the banner. That's absolutely something I should have done, but hey, here we are. What can you do? I could go back and paint it on. I hear you saying that. I already mentioned I don't repaint things. They are what they are. Funny story why these are on rounds. These were my 8th edition Furies. I just have never cared about bases. So I would always just put them onto like square movement trays and then just use that for their facing. And call it a day. It's probably not acceptable, but I don't really care because I'm lazy. And so there we go. Hey, on the right side, look at that. They're AOS ready. This demon army got much more legitimate once Age of Sigmar landed. But I do love them. They have the much pinker skin than the regular daemonettes because I wanted to distinguish them. I didn't just want them to be flying daemonettes. I wanted them to clearly be a different race. So they have the much warmer skin tone, using a lot more pinks and flesh tones. They have a fun thing going on their wings. You can kind of see it here. There's a nice fun technique that Dr. Faust had kind of talked about a long time ago. I'll probably do a hobby cheating on it as well at some point, to create sort of ribbing in leathery flat wings. And it's just an interesting way to spice them up. And I used that here. So that'll probably come in a video at some point. The only thing I'm not sure about is I used obviously the brass rods for everything, and then just for a lot of them that are up in the air, and then turned them gray. I don't know if it really detracts from them. Some people it really bothers. I don't generally like having big brass rods. If I was doing these guys again, everything else I made flying more or less forever, I used actual terrain, but then I'm not sure I could ever get them this tall on, a 25 mil round or whatever. But they were a lot of fun. And, like this girl here, the 2 that are actually like swooping as though they're circling around your unit ready to dive in are 2 of my favorites. Okay, so my chariots. I've got a couple of Seeker chariots. This is the first one. I like this model a lot. I love the Seeker chariot model. I think it looks great. This one you can clearly see we've got the Empire man here desperately trying to stab at them, and unfortunately he is not going to win this fight. Little blood in the snow. I was very happy with that little minor conversion. I tried to start this, you can see here as I'm going along with the bases start to get spiced up a little. We've got some different color rocks mixed in, more grass and stuff like that mixed around. I think this model's a lot of fun. It's honestly even not that time consuming because the weird metal framework of the thing, cleaning the flash takes a while, but once you've got that done, it's all the same thing. It's all the same material. So I honestly think this is a fairly easy model to paint, like as far as the frame itself goes. And then you've got the 2 daemonettes. And the girl with the whips, still one of my favorite daemonettes they've ever made. I love those big giant whips with the hooks at the end. I just think it's a super cool looking model. And she's one of the few daemonettes in the range that still has hands. That's truly my big thing that I'm not a huge fan of in the new range. I hate that they're all claws. Like, every one of them has 2 claws. Because I would love to have some of them holding stuff. So, if I had it to do over again, I would probably do arm swaps with just witch elves or other types of models like that. Because they have about the same size arm. So this one was fun to try to put this guy down here, being ground under in the snow and dropping some blood in the snow and stuff like that. Certainly not the last time that will happen. Okay, Seeker Chariot number 2. This one I wanted to get more of the forward motion to, hence her whips are not just going out sideways, she's whipping forward and such. The fun little challenge I did for myself with this one was I wanted the snow to actually be kicking up out of the back. Like, this thing is going so fast that it's like throwing snow behind it in a snow blower-like fashion, just throwing out the snow. And so I made a little plastic mold. I used like some other plastic thing and put the snow over top of it with like maybe some kind of lubricant in between, maybe like some Vaseline or something, so that way it wouldn't actually stick to it. And then once the snow had completely dried, I pulled it out. And amazingly, to this day, it has not broken off. I'm sure it would. If I flicked it pretty hard with my finger, I'm pretty sure that it would fall right off. So this one doesn't ever get transported anywhere. This one's kind of permanently on the shelf or in the game. It can make its little trip out to my gaming table in the next room, but it doesn't go any farther than that. Excuse me. Okay, so this one, oh boy, this one. So I had a bunch of extra pieces. When you buy the Secret Chariot kits, you get extra pieces because it's meant to be the chariot or the Hellflayer. So I kind of wanted to make one that was like both. So like it could be a Hellflayer or it could be an Exalted chariot. So I took like an old, I don't know, High Elf or Wood Elf chariot or something and hacked it up. And then I took all the blades and just started throwing together blades into weird like combinations of wheels and stuff and hooks. And then I needed mounts for it. I didn't have any more little weird tongue demons. So I just grabbed some war dogs and turned them pink and thought, hey, why not? That's what we're writing. The girls are obviously just the extra mounts you get in a couple of these kits. And it has an open space here where I will sometimes put a Herald, because this will stand in now for an Exalted chariot in AOS. You can see it's already on the oval base. How about that? Guess what? It was on an oval base in 8th edition too. I would just like put a normal chariot base underneath it or something, or a bigger base. I would just put the appropriate base underneath it and say, there you go, that's what's actually going on. Again, lazy. Had this sitting in the box because it came extra and said, yep, seems pretty good to me. But the Herald will just stand right on top there, so if I do like the Exalted, and we can call that a day. More often I just use it as a Hellflayer now in AOS, and it works pretty good for that. I think it's a perfectly fine stand-in for a Hellflayer chariot. Alright, so the Seekers. This is the first thing I painted for this army when I came back to it. So this is a lot of like test model coloration. You'll notice like I went into the daemonettes next and I kind of changed the paints and the ratio I was using them in and stuff like that. But this was my first group of test models, which was the Seekers. I like these models a lot. I think the Seekers are a lot of fun. Again, you can see blank banner. You know, I'm being lazy there. The armor on this is a little darker. These things take for freaking ever to paint, I will say, when you because these little cows are all different. These little licky anteater cows are all different. And you know, if you're trying to do them to a decent standard, every one of them is like slightly different, requires slightly different colors and stuff like that. So they're not easy to factory. That being said, I do love these models, and I think they came out okay. I even made them their own little movement tray with some snow on it there. I don't know how good that is, but whatever. It exists, so hoo-ah. Yeah. So here's the Seekers I did much later, like with the newer color scheme. Obviously, these were done much more recently. They're on the now, AOS basis. I did these specifically with AOS in mind. I like these. I like the brighter tones that were used here, like a softer purple and more into the magentas and pinks. And now we got something on the banner. There we go. Now it's not boring and awful. We can also see definitely the evolution of the bases up into their modern form. But I really love this particular Seeker unit. I love the look of it. I like the bright pink contrasting against the purple. And yeah, this one's a lot of fun. All right. both my heralds, two heralds, and yeah. I love this model. It looks like a daemonette, but it also looks more special. I love the come at me bro stance of them that you can do with the arms. I'm not sure that... I honestly don't know which one of these I painted first anymore. I'm not positive. But I will say that this girl's eyes are screwed up. That's what I'm sure about. I bet I painted this one first, because her eyes are pretty crappy, and she has eyebrows, which I don't do on models really anymore. Not At least not in that way. But I'm happy with how both these girls came out. They're both fun. It is a great model. I do love the Herald of Slaanesh. I don't know what call I generally have to do two of them, but you know, you got to be prepared. One's on the chariot, one's leading the daemonettes. There you go. Okay, I didn't just do 10 daemonettes back in the day. There was one other model that made me first really love Slaanesh, and that was the Mask. And so I bought my Mask model way back in the day. God knows how many, again, this is probably 13 years ago this was painted. And as you can see, she's missing one of her arms, because the Mask actually has like 3 arms. That is lost to time. Who knows where that is? But yeah, that's pretty god-awful. I don't know what to say about that other than I'm sorry. But it did inspire me to collect this army. So I suppose I am at the same time very grateful to the Mask for being a wonderful little dancer. And she served me well through many, many, many battles in 8th edition and previous. She's always just been a true annoyance to your enemies. I do like this model. I wish it was cast in plastic. Both of them that I have are metal. We'll see the second one in a moment. I wouldn't want this in fine cast. It's way too small and finicky. I'm sure it would have pockmarks. So only in a new like character or clam pack plastic would I get this. Otherwise, sadly, you gotta go with metal. So now here's the newer Mask I've got, and yes, now she has all her arms. She's in the current paint scheme, and I do love how this one came out. I got real close up on her, and so it kind of caused her mask, her tragedy comedy stick to fade out. But I absolutely love this girl. One of my more favorite models I've done for this army. Probably actually my second favorite. We'll see or third weird ranking. We'll see why in a second. You haven't seen the other two yet. But I like how this one came out, and I think it's fun. Yeah, again, the basing game was upped. We actually darkened out the rim of the base, all that kind of stuff. I love the Mask. It's models like this, like I said, that made me want to collect this army, and that I think makes Slaanesh so unique. So this would be the second favorite. This is obviously the Bloodrack Medusa, but then with a Witch Elf head, and I'm going to say Vargulf wings, to make my Demon Princess of Slaanesh. I love, love, love this model. Like that is to say, I love the Bloodrack Medusa. The only thing I don't like about it is that it has forced blood stains, like forced blood drips, which always looks weird and fake. I really did try my best with that's got to be 6 different colors of red in that blood to try to make stippled over and over again, and then coated, and then turned pink, and then put with Blood for the Blood God on. I really tried gave it the old college best to make it look as not stupid as possible, but blood would just so naturally be transparent, and it wouldn't sit there in that drip for more than a half a second. So it just makes the model look static. That's the problem with it. If she was really moving in any way, that blood would not be a drip like that. Try to get a drip of water hanging off your arm like that, or even a thick viscous substance like blood or oil. Dip your hand in oil and then swing it around and see if you can get a blood droplet to work like that. No, don't do that. That would be silly. But my point being is that it just doesn't look real. And it makes the model look like she's standing stock still, because any kind of movement would cause these to move immediately. That being said, I'm very happy with how she came out. The fun thing about this one was to try the eye mask thing here with the pink around the eyes with the bright white eyes. I saw that after I'd painted the other Witch Elf's heads. I was looking in one of the new End Times books and saw this. The Heavy Metal team has a group of Witch Elves that are done in very pale skin with the pink sort of tattoo markings or ink around their eyes, the dark rim, and then the pure white eyes. And I just fell in love with it. I just think it looks fantastic and really makes the face pop. So I wanted to try it here, even though it doesn't look like anything else. I thought that was okay because she's the demon princess. She's allowed to be a pretty girl all by herself. So there you go. That was a fun conversion. Can't recommend that Bloodrack Medusa enough. You can lay your hands on one, get it, paint it, put it together. It's tremendous fun, and it's a great model. And now the piece de resistance. This is maybe one of my favorite models that has ever been done in Warhammer. I think on a Warhammer Weekly I said it was, so I'll probably stick to that. This is obviously the Forge World Keeper of Secrets. I don't believe that the other Keeper of Secrets exists. It is an abomination. It should be straight. The crab antelope piece of garbage should be stricken from history and forgotten about. I find it to be the worst model maybe ever. But this is a thing of beauty. It's funny to me that that one of the worst models ever has one of the best alternatives from Forge World. So that's good. I love this model. As you can see, I did kind of change it up some. Like, normally she has little spikes in her leg as well. I don't like those, so I got rid of all of them. Yeah, there's all sorts of little changes in here that, like, as I smoothed it out and made her, I just wanted her to look more smooth, more lithe, less just full of spiky chaos nonsense that they like to put on there for no good reason. So there's a lot of, like, putty and things like that to smooth, and then she was sanded down to keep that nice and smooth. I want to do something unusual for her sword, because when I field my Keeper of Secrets, I always fielded her with the Eternal Blade. So I wanted to make sure that looked very Slaanesh and in the same way as their claws. If I had it to do over again now, I would probably push the contrast even more, because I think it's a little too samey, but it looks okay. I love the leather on the model. I love the way this came out. I love her face. That is, I think, the detail on the face for this model is exceptional, and it just lets you lavish detail on it. Yeah, there we go. I've got a close-up shot. And I just, like, her eyes are so big, you actually get to do full eyes. You can, have irises and pupils and the point of reflection and such. And it's just such a joy to paint these. Her big horns, the little hairs coming out of the back of her head, oh my god, those take forever to trace every little vein line in them. But it was certainly worth it. Yeah, this is maybe one of my favorite models in my collection. I love her to death, and I've played her in every single game. And in most games, she gets shot down by cannons, since I fight Empire people a lot. An Empire guy, especially, who likes taking like 4 or 5 cannons, regardless of the edition. And so this girl has caught more cannonballs. Insert pun here. And I just wanted to include this shot as well, because you can see I've also got the elf who is being driven mad by the lustful tauntings of the Keeper of Secrets into whipping himself with the scourges, which I thought was really fun. And I don't know how well it comes out, but there are footprints in the snow. Like, I used his little boots to make footprints in the snow and to have them all, like, blood-drenched where it's run down off of him, down his legs, into the snow before he finally collapsed to his knees and is whipping himself with elated joy at the exaltation of the Keeper of Secrets. So there you go. That's my Army of Slaanesh. I hope you enjoy. Again, I really want to know, do you think this is fun? Do you want to see me do more videos like this? Hey, tell me what you think. I've got a lot of armies, and so I started with the smallest, easiest one to do this with. I hope that you find it interesting. I will only do this with my finished armies, so of that, the other armies I would do is Tomb Kings, Skaven, Bretonnians, and my Grailcast Eternals. So if you like this and you want to see me do more, put down below what you want to see as the next army. So there you go. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, we'll see you next time. There you go, one more final shot as we leave.